city of Sana'a, which rarely sees this type of activity. At the same time, there's also been a sustained uptick in drone strikes across Yemen's various provinces against suspected militant targets. Freelance journalist Adam Barron is one of the few Western journalists in Yemen, and he joins me now. Adam, we were talking with you and a few of your other colleagues about sort of unmanned aircraft, this kind of constant buzz above Sana'a, which is unusual in the several days after the initial terror alert. Is this still going on?
No, we haven't seen any planes, or excuse me, spy planes of the same type that were spotted a few days ago over the skies. I'd say about 3 days now. So it's not present, but the memory of that still ends up. People are talking about it. People are talking about it on a regular basis until now.
What's the situation now in Sana'a?
If you look at the streets of Sana'a, it's hard to get the sense that anything is out of order. Traffic moves normally. Shops are closed, but that's because it's the Eid al-Fitr holiday marking the end of Ramadan. So, if anything, the Eid has gone off completely normally. Most businesses will return to work tomorrow. Schools will reopen, things like that. And for the most part, for the average Yemeni, very little has been different for the past week, even as the terror alert has dominated headlines in the U.S. and elsewhere.
The terror alert, as well as those drone strikes, what do we know about the targets and who might have been killed?
At this point, all that's really known is that these are people, people that the government, the U.S. and Yemeni government suspects are militants. It's very hard to get confirmed identities for the people that are killed, both because of the location of many of the strikes and also because the bodies of people killed in the strikes tend to be burned beyond recognition. What's clear at this point is that some of them were, known al-Qaeda militants, albeit no prominent leaders, but also that some of the people killed were indeed innocent civilians, including at least one child. So this is something that, in addition to killing militants as far as certain people are concerned, it also increases the resentment of the strikes across swaths of the Yemeni population.
What do Yemenis think, those you're able to speak to in Sana'a and elsewhere? What do they think of Americans and what's been going on over the last several weeks?
I mean, generally, it's hard to say there's been an uptick in anti-American sentiment in terms of, as an American living in Sana'a, I haven't noticed anything out of the ordinary in terms of how people treat me. That being said, the drone strikes have dominated the discussion in Sana'a to an extent that I personally have not seen in my 2.5 years here. It's across societal lines. You'll have elites debating the strikes and their results, and then you'll also have, ordinary people, shopkeepers and what have you, talking about it in the streets. And I think the danger is that these strikes are coming to represent the United States' intervention in Yemen, which is something that has the potential to bode pretty poorly for the U.S. in the future.
And regarding then the, I suppose, the future and the everyday concerns of Yemenis, we have very little opportunity to get these reports from Yemen. What is their biggest concern? We know what the West thinks about first and foremost with regards to Yemen. What about ordinary Yemenis?
I mean, for the average Yemeni, it's about, eking out a living. It's about being able to put enough food on the table. It's about, dealing with high unemployment and an economy that has yet to pick up after the anti-government uprising against Ali Abdullah Saleh in 2011. When it comes to sort of political issues, AQAP is seen as a result of other things. People will talk politics, they'll talk about the development, they'll talk about, the central government's inability to really hold control over many areas outside of Sana'a. So I think for Yemenis, the concerns are two things. It's economic, and then it's security. But while security tends to be equated with al-Qaeda when it comes to Yemen, outside of Yemen, inside of here, security is seen as a host of other issues, which are seen as fueling the AQAP presence.
Sure, it's always more complex than it seems from the outside, as always. Adam Barron, thanks very much talking to us from Sana'a in Yemen. And while we continue to associate Yemen with drone strikes and al-Qaeda, in Yemen's capital city of Sana'a, there's over 2,500 years of culture and tradition there. A UNESCO World Heritage Site nestled in the mountains. The old city of Sana'a is home to over 100 mosques and has been a center of learning and a thriving trading hub for centuries before these difficult years. And after a break, we'll turn to a story here in the United States that you may